All right, everybody, welcome to another video. It is JP News Day. I've already done my global news. This will be coming out, a few hours after the global news to let that video stew, get some attention. Don't want to take it away from it right away. But have no fear. You guys still have roughly about a month's time before this becomes incredibly important information for, actively needing it, but maybe gives you a slight advantage on the future by watching my content. So let's get into it. So first off, we do have a Trials of Judgment event that is coming up. Now this will basically come with essentially, everything that you would expect for this type of event. Bonus units, bonus vision cards, having all that stuff is generally good. Not having that stuff is generally bad, but not impossible. Taking a look this time, we also have a new piece of equipment. The UR piece of equipment. It says weapon, but it's not a weapon. It's got to be an accessory. If it is a weapon, I'll correct that later. But the Guard Captain's Rope, which if that is a weapon, I look forward to being classified more than anything. It's probably just a mistranslation that I am looking at right now. Quick and dirty, that's what we want some days. So, Bartz, Lena, Ferris, Gilgamesh, and Exdeath will all benefit from this with general abilities as well as specialized abilities. So checking out, this is what each and every one of the FF5 characters will get. Increased resistance to single target attacks, increased resistance to paralysis, and increased resistance to stun. Not bad, actually. I think it's generally okay. I mean, I like that it is a bit of a defensive weapon. Trying to equip it to certain characters will be a bit of a challenge. So taking a look, Bartz, increase physical damage and increase healing power. Not bad. I think that's an interesting combination. Lena will get wider the attack range, less physical damage taken, as well as curse resistance and silence resistance. Now, honestly, I like that a lot for Lena. Curse resistance effectively keeps her abilities working, and as for silence resistance, well, more or less the same thing, but I want to see the actual percentages on here. I hope that it's going to be a considerable high amount to push Lena into potentially at least being a little bit more interesting than what she is. Next up, Ferris, reduced AP consumption and increased accuracy. Okay, I don't know if I'm super excited about this because so far Ferris hasn't really Ferrising so well compared to some of the newer characters, but I don't know, maybe it's 1,000 accuracy. That would be kind of weird and interesting in a way, because a little bit at this point I'm tired of the evasion thing. But moving on. Gilgamesh will remove or get reduced physical damage taken that is cancelled after taking damage twice, and increased accuracy. That's hilarious since he's being run with evasion characters right now. The accuracy, again, I'm curious about how much. It has to be a fair bit to make up for, to use this equipment. But also them reducing physical damage taken. His problem isn't against physical, it's against magical at the moment. So that might be a little bit more telling that I think this equipment probably won't get across the finish line with Gilgamesh, but we'll see. Again, numbers are not set in stone yet. And last, Exdeath. Magic damage increases when HP is over 50%. Absolutely fantastic ability. And damage, physical damage taken, is reduced as the attack range becomes wider. If there was a character on this list that I think is the most evidently best, it's Exdeath by a considerable mile. Because from what I've used Exdeath right now, I think that this synergizes really, really well with him. Now, here's the problem. The problem is that his equipment is sort of really spoken for at this point. There's almost no reason that you wouldn't want the armor on him, because it does help his survivability, but so does this, potentially, which is interesting. If you were kind of trying to put him on a team with a tank to protect him as well, well, then maybe you put the armor on a different character and then give this Gilgamesh or X-Death this piece of equipment. Either way, I mean, I'll be farming at least a couple of these because I think it will be generally good to have. I can see at the most maybe 2 FF5 characters working really well together. And yeah, outside of that, I can't really see you needing 3 because I just don't see that team working. But hey, I'm the guy with all 5 Final Fantasy V characters. Go figure. So I'm pretty looking forward to at least getting some actual farming done in this event. And 2 of the vision cards out of 4. All right, next up. This is our new vision card. And to quote the guy in my Discord who does a lot of stuff with the light element, who is currently like been doing the light Veritas, who has been using Yuna, who has been using just a ton of light characters. I quote him verbatim. Well, shit, that's a card I absolutely need. So let's take a look at what this card actually is. As per usual, is a Holovision card. Don't know why I mentioned that in this year, but maybe there's someone new here. Holovision cards, basically more expensive cards to build that provide permanent bonuses. Hey, congratulations. If you're new, that kind of helps. So the Holovision card features both of the Leonis brothers sporting their new armors, new weapons, and it looks pretty cool. I like the really cool design on here. As for the jobs is a little bit weird because we have greatsword, bow, gun, and then dagger and ninja sword put on here as well. The dagger and ninja sword doesn't make any sense to me because at this point, greatsword isn't being run with dagger, bow isn't being run with dagger, gun isn't being run with dagger. So unless there is some unit coming out or getting upgraded, I'm gonna just write that down for myself later. There's a couple of possibilities for this, but it does seem to maybe hint at the idea that, well, some light or dark character will be coming in the very near future that is, a dagger or a ninja sword of some kind. Because I just can't piece together why they would throw this on there. There's no synergy currently with what is good in dagger and such with this. And the idea of putting either or any of the most recent dagger or ninja blade characters with like Mont or whatever just doesn't remotely synergize with any kind of game plan here. It's weird. This whole VC to me just screams that something is going to happen probably in the near future that synergizes with the great sword thing that's going on here. It could be Final Fantasy VI with Locke. It could be it could be a Persona rerun. There is so many possibilities, but this is suspicious. This is incredibly suspicious at this point of something that will probably be happening relatively soon. But like, as for the whole Riku or Venera conversation, there's something there, like, sorry, Venera with this just isn't interesting. Neither is Riku. Maybe something will come out of left field here, but this is not particularly a combination that I think will work in any way, shape, or form. Now, I know I spent a lot of time talking about that, but it is essentially a very big talking point with this vision card. What you get is increased resistance to single target attacks, which is incredibly good, and as well, magic attacks too. So this is an incredibly defensive card on the upfront for the party. But then you also get, for maxing out the VC, attack up. So this is potentially an interesting alternative to some of the Advent Children cards, the Greatsword related cards, because you are getting still a pretty big attack up boost off of this card, but a good amount of DPS too. Interestingly, for quest only, this VC will give damage limit upped, which is less valuable. It's not really anything like that, but I don't know. It's interesting because it could be good for certain content that might be in the future. It might just make your life easier in certain content. Not a bad thing for the card. As for the granted effects, increased resistance penetration rate for AoE attacks is really nice, and increased HP. It is the, new Mont card 100%. Maxing out the VC will for Vision Mastery for quest only, Spirit up, and Light Attribute attack up. I like this VC. I like this VC a lot. I still think it has high PvP competitiveness, even if the bonuses are more focused towards quest for completing the vision card. This vision card still seems really nice for the light game plan, because whatever weird thing is happening with the dagger and ninja swords on this, it doesn't really matter that much. Sure, I get it. It could just be that you just throw this on those two so that they have more resistance against characters like X-Death, but that seems a little bit extreme to go to just get a single vision card for that purpose only. And again, it's a really weird thing to do. There has to be something else behind this besides just that. We'll see though. Moving on, equipment and character updates. So King, the young version of old, Mont's father, when he was younger, the younger version of him, not the older version of him. See how this is confusing? We'll be getting his character quest 2 as well. Character quest 3 will appear for Elsirel, Raph, Skarl, and Fina, which of all of these, I have very low expectations for most of them. I highly doubt that Raph will become incredibly competitive again, given what the light-dark combo kind of has to work with now, but we'll see. Fina, however, is kind of interesting potentially for people who are still struggling with selection quests to get some kind of really big boost, and it's nice to see lower tier characters getting master or character quest 3 as well. There's also one of the pieces of equipment, the necklace, will be getting its 6-star version, which I'm pretty sure is the FF5 one, but don't quote me on that because I can't exactly remember. I'll cover it and talk about it later. Last thing that kind of is needed to be talked about is Grand Arena returning. And the reason that I bring up Grand Arena is returning is because just to do the usual check-in of what the equipment is, it is the Emerald Spyglass that is returning for a 3rd time. So at this point, it's been around a good amount of time, but, some people might be wondering, hey, is this a certain thing? Yeah, it's generally pretty good. And yeah, don't think that there's too terribly much else. Doesn't seem like there is any hard requirements as of this time, but that's just from my map effects. Last thing to talk about. Decreases favorable attribute resistance and increases unfavorable attribute resistance for fire, ice, wind, earth, lightning, and water attribute units. Increases physical damage for units who can equip a great sword as their main job, a la Mont. Reduces physical damage taken for units whose main job can equip staff, such as Black Mage. So there you go. Anyway, that is all the details. That vision card is quite interesting. What it will mean, just have to stay tuned. That's all for now. Take care. See you later.